What is going on, my super sandwiches? Rhymestyle here, and today I'm joined by Danny Squared. And by Danny Squared, of course, I'm talking about Geekdom and Jadentastic. Two Dannys. Yes, they're both named Danny. It's weird. If Danny and Danny fought to the death, who would win? That's the question.
My money's on Danny.
Oh, that's a good choice. You guys caught on to what I was doing. Good job. You know, when I thought that in my head, I wasn't sure if you guys were going to go for it or not, but hey, you guys are pretty clever.
Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're having a Dragon Ball discussion. Dragon Ball. And the reason why is because, well, the question has been, it's been brought into question, how long will Dragon Ball Super be? Long time ago, actually. And just to kind of toss it out there again, the 100 episode thing was a rumor a long time ago. It's still being tossed around. People still talk about it to this day. It's like, yeah, Dragon Ball Super is going to be 100 episodes long. That was a placement holder. For all we know, Dragon Ball Super is going to be 1,000 episodes. We don't even know. It's going to go on for a very long time, essentially. But I want to kind of knock that out there just to kill that rumor once again. Because Geekdom, you probably get that all the time too, don't you?
Oh, it's frustrating for me because I've done like 3 videos about it. Yeah, just to clarify what you're talking about. Yeah, there was somebody, I don't even know where it started. I think it was
Toei Europe.
Well, before that, actually, I remember there was again, Latin America said that there was going to be 200 episodes. That was the first one. I remember
that was
one.
the initial rumor for a new Dragon Ball Z series. We all remember that one.
Yeah, and then the 100 episodes. Yeah, the bottom line is this, all right? When you look into, like, television and how it works, no TV show ever gets greenlit for 100 episodes, even if it's Dragon Ball. And the reason for that, ever. And the reason for that's because if Dragon Ball, it doesn't matter what it is, Dragon Ball, any show, if they put the show out and they actually greenlight 100 episodes and they contract animators and actors for 100 episodes and the show tanks by episode 50, all that money goes in the toilet. So you'll never see a show get greenlit for that many episodes ever in any country because it's too much of a risk. But the way Dragon Ball used to work, of course, back in the day, was that it was following the manga. Same thing with Naruto and One Piece does nowadays. Of course, Naruto's a whole different story because they have filler and stuff, but so did Dragon Ball. But the point is that that's how it was back then. But the whole, obviously there's been cases where shows have been canceled or been rushed to production. Like, for example, GT. GT didn't do so well in Japan with the ratings and the merchandise, and GT ended up being cut short. GT was not supposed to be 64 episodes. It was going to be as long as it could possibly go. But what happened was the ratings for Dragon Ball GT, starting with episode 3, actually, and this all this data is on Kanzenshuu. If you go to the episode guide, just tanked, just hit the freaking toilet. And Dragon Ball was just hurt, and there's different factors as to why that is, which I'll get into in another video later on. But the point I'm trying to make is that with Super, Dragon Ball Super will go as long as they make money, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's one of those shows.
Just to toss something out there, because I see people, a small minority, I'll say that, a small minority of people say, Dragon Ball Super sucks, why is it going on? Well, Geekdom, you talked about this a while ago, but Dragon Ball Super right now only caters to one audience, and that is the Japanese market. And in Japan, since a lot of you guys might not live there, Dragon Ball Super is massive. The ratings are great, it's very successful, the merch is just like coming out left to right. And because of that, Dragon Ball Super is not going to end anytime soon. I mean, honestly, I have this theory that Dragon Ball will go on forever, which is kind of ridiculous to say, just because like nothing goes on forever, everything dies eventually. Dragon Ball died once with GT, obviously, but I feel like right now we're in a position where Dragon Ball will not die anytime soon, because if you think about it, it's been around since what, 86? Is that when the first manga chapter was printed? 86?
No, 86 when the anime started. 84
right.
is when the manga started.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys know, but that's a long time ago. What is that, 32 years? If my math is right.
We did have a long break, but the situation is that you're on point, man, in that it's about how much money it makes, and people always will say, oh, well, it's not the number one show. Well, of course not. Sasase no Chan is, and that's the biggest show in Japan. But just having Dragon Ball in the top 10 every week is a tremendous success. Tremendously. Top 10 show, top 10 anime show in the whole country. You know how much anime airs over there?
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, you made a good point before we start recording, and I actually did not know about this. But do you want to mention the Budokai thing you talked about from 2000?
That's
or 2001, I think it was.
That would be a whole other topic, but I can briefly talk about it.
Briefly summarize it.
Yeah, what happened was, if we go back to 97, GT was, Toriyama finished the manga in 95. He said, I'm done. I'm going to move on to other projects and take some time off because he had been working nonstop. So Dragon Ball essentially, GT killed Dragon Ball for a number of factors that I'm not going to get into. And the factors are actually not the lack of Toriyama's involvement. That might be a small factor, but not really a big one. Dragon Ball was on the air for like 11 years or so, or whatever, 9 years, a long time, almost 10 years. And every show gets old. I mean, it just happens. People get tired of it. They move on. And then what actually brought the popularity of Dragon Ball back in Japan, and actually worldwide too, but we were getting the dub right around when Budokai 1 came out, was Budokai 1. Budokai 1, or as it was called in Japan, Dragon Ball Z. That's the name of the game in Japan, just Dragon Ball Z. On PS2, totally freaking began the renaissance that led to the Dragon Boxes, that led to the home releases, that led to the Kanzenban, which is the perfect manga release, which would of course lead to Yo Son Goku, lead to Battle of Gods, and what we're at today. So
now,
it's crazy.
I said in this video that Dragon Ball will never end, but it ended once. The difference between today and obviously 20 years ago when GT happened is the fact that merchandise is now on a different level. And with the amount of games we're getting, like Shueisha contracts Bandai Namco to do a game a year. We will always get a game a year.
Always.
And
more than one usually.
Yeah.
I mean, even without changes to the storyline, we were getting a game a year.
Hey, Danny's in this video too.
Hey! You guys,
was gonna get to
were
you,
rocking
but-
it. You were just going back and forth. I was letting it happen.
Yeah.
Hey man, I don't want to eat up your time, bro. You go ahead.
No, I was
gonna get to you
was
next.
just
I was
saying,
gonna
like, we
ask
were
you-
even out having like new movies and a new storyline with Super and stuff, we were still getting Dragon Ball Z games.
Yeah.
And like there wasn't like we were literally just playing the same story over and over again and just changing the way that the game played, and everyone was still happy.
And the funny thing is we'll always enjoy that. Like looking into Xenoverse, I love how Xenoverse is doing a different side of story. But let's
Love
be real
that.
here. If every single Dragon Ball game from here on out was just the same story, we'll replay that over and over again because it's fun. The story mode is one thing, but multiplayer is always another thing. And as long as we have that kind of merge, that kind of like immersiveness of enjoying Dragon Ball at an all-around level, it's just not going to end. God forbid, if the voice actors die, Toriyama dies, if someone dies, that's going to cause issues, obviously. But I feel like, honestly, it's just the series is going to keep going. It's going to keep going.
It would have to be something catastrophic. That's what you're trying to say. Like in
Like,
order for
Toei
this
would have
series,
to like fall apart.
Yeah. I will say this, okay, as far as the voice actors dying, because Japan does honor their voice actors differently than we do here. Obviously, here in our country, the United States, where we live, not where we're born, not me and Dino, anyways, but you have like 15 different Mickey Mouses. Not 15, but like 4, because guys pass away, from the 30s. I feel like if Nozawa or Horikawa or one of the main actors die, what they'll probably do, and I hope this does not happen, I really hope it doesn't, but they probably will wrap up the show just out of respect.
Right.
Or what they'll do is they'll figure out a way to take those characters out of the show. Which
Spin-offs.
Yeah, spin-offs. Yeah, exactly. Or yeah, because they might recast Goku. I just think that it's more of a respect thing.
Right.
And yeah, that's the way I feel. But the point is that, yeah, as long as there's video games coming out and the series keeps doing very well, it's not going to end. And here's the thing that's nobody's talking about, is that it's only localized in Japan. How much money are they going to make when it actually gets a dub in not just the United States, because remember, the US is also Canada, Australia, but also Latin America, which is an even bigger Dragon Ball market than the US
Huge.
is. Massive. Dude,
Yeah.
and I'm not even talking about Germany,
Mars, other
Yeah,
planets, bro.
all the Jupiter, and not Saturn because they got eaten by the dragon.
Yeah.
It's
And the other-
like
the other thing
they
about
haven't
Dragon
even
Ball,
touched on it yet, bro.
The other thing about Dragon Ball is I feel like since we all grew up with it, we're gonna pass it on like to our kids. Like, I mean, Danny, how many episodes of Dragon Ball Z has your son watched already? He's like what, a week old?
Pretty much all of them. And my daughter actually knows all of the characters that I have standing on my desk by name. So
Yeah.
That's good parenting.
Yeah.
she just turned 2 years old. She already knows all the characters.
When are they starting their YouTube channels?
You're gonna hold off on that for a little bit. So yeah.
They're getting
But it's
younger
funny.
and
Here's
younger.
something though. Here's a question. So if the show never ends, this is just for more like of a fun question. If the show never ends, like how far do you think they'll actually go power wise? Because we've already reached God level. So like how far do you think they can go?
Honestly, I don't think they're gonna go beyond God. I feel like when they get to that point where they had that one epic fight between Beerus, Whis, Goku, Vegeta, that's going to be ultimately the end of the anime, the manga, the story. But after that, we're going to get, as Geekdom said, we're going to get the spin-offs. We're gonna get the games. You're gonna get the toys, the merchandise.
So many great
and,
spin-off possibilities.
Yeah, and it's funny because you and I did a video that's gonna go up in 2 hours. Which if you're watching this later in the day, you can just watch both the fights. We talked about what are some fun spin-off ideas, and you can see what everybody else said. But I think that was actually that was a question from last time, so you'll see at the end of the video what everybody else said. But
Yeah, and we did one too a few weeks ago.
exactly. So ultimately, Dragon Ball is not going to end anytime soon. Super will probably go beyond 100 episodes, so we can kill that rumor once again, and we'll probably kill this rumor maybe 10 more times in the course of this year. At least until we
very
pass.
possibly will. Yes.
Yeah, until we pass 100 episodes. As of right now, the series is greenlit for 6 volumes, I think, which goes into 72 episodes.
Yeah. They just announced DVD, Blu-ray box sets 4, 5, and 6, which ends with episode 72. Why haven't they announced more? Because, well, they
It's how it
aren't
works.
planning on making more. Yeah, exactly. But I do wonder how many more storylines. Because here's the reality. It's going to end at some point. It will end. It's just not going to be for a while. The question is, will it be quality? Will Toriyama and
that's the
Toei
one.
still put... Yeah, that's the problem.
I'm glad you said that because that takes me to the final question in this video, and this is one that I want you guys to answer and everybody was watching it. From all the Dragon Ball content, what is your favorite and why? And let me go ahead and answer that first because I feel like I have the easy one.
That's like a huge question, bro.
I know. For me, it's the games, only because I feel like no matter what happens to the series, end of the day, I can go back and enjoy the series how I grew up just from the perspective of playing it. So let's say the series does tank in the future and Dragon Ball Super pulls a GT or something and it's just not that great, or they do like spin-offs and I just like them. End of the day, I can go back and relive the story through the games. And as we said earlier in the video, we can literally play through that story 1,000 times and never get tired of it. So the games will always have my back. It was good. Plus, I'm always a hands-on type of person, so I love the figures, but the games is number one for me. What about you guys? Danny, how about we start with you?
Which one?
Real
Geekdom.
original.
Let's do Geekdom.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do you.
No,
You can only
well,
pick one. You can only pick one.
Okay, well, I do love the manga and the video games, but definitely the anime for me, because the anime was like just my first introduction to the series, like a lot of us was, and I can always, and I do always go back and watch the anime, and like Jadantastic, I will pass it on to my children and my children's children as well, starting with Dragon Ball all the way through to even GT. We'll even watch GT at some point, maybe, possibly. That's my favorite thing about it, to be honest. I mean, it's kind of a weird question because I feel like we all would kind of pick that, but you picked the game, so that's good.
Actually, let me reiterate. I'm talking about right now. So, like, essentially, what to always fall back on in the future. Because Dragon Ball Z is obviously the go-to answer for a lot of people. Everyone's gonna say, "Oh yeah, Dragon Ball Z, duh." I'm talking about right now. So like
Super, or
you have Super, you have the games, you have the merchandise, you have the figures, you have the art, whatever. Like right now, what is that one thing for you that's basically like
anything
your
with
favorite
anything with Champa?
anything with Champa?
Anything with Champa. That's what I go back to.
Sure,
That's it.
we'll take
Anything
that
with
one.
Champa. Anything
What about
with
you,
Champa.
Danny? Danny number 2.
You kind of took mine with the games, man. I mean,
Games?
I've been playing the games since the first Dragon Ball Z game that I got was
Final Bout?
on the PS1.
Which was yikes.
And that was the one. So that was the game that actually had some GT characters in it before I even knew that GT was a thing. Because obviously the internet wasn't huge yet. There wasn't a lot of forums and stuff coming out, so news didn't travel like it did today. And so there were characters in there that I was like, who? I don't even know who these people are. And we talked about it in school, and then I learned there was this completely other series that was out in Japan that we hadn't even heard of yet that was crazy. And just ever since that day, I've played pretty much every single Dragon Ball Z game that has come out. Even like the fan-made games like Hyper DBZ, the Flash games like Devolution, and the stupid card collector games on my phone. Like it's ridiculous. I'm completely and hopelessly addicted to Dragon Ball Z games.
Yeah, same here. I actually find myself playing Dragon Ball Z games more than anything else. Like, I have Overwatch sitting here right now in front of me, and I'm playing a lot of Dokkan Battle instead of Overwatch, which is, it's weird. But again, it's what you said. It's like we're addicted to the Dragon Ball game. So, what is your favorite, ladies and gentlemen? And remember, you have to think about the future, not necessarily the past, because obviously the go-to answer for everybody is going to be Dragon Ball Z, because it's kind of what a lot of us grew up on. Some people grew up on a Dragon Ball. Someone might have grew up on a GT. I don't really know, but
No, I don't think so. Well,
from here on
some
out.
definitely grew up on Kai.
Yeah,
There are a
even Kai.
lot of Kai fans, and I've said this before too. While I love the Kai dub and the HD quality and all that, it's good. But the only thing I don't like about Kai is that people have to start with Dragon Ball. And a lot of folks that grew up on Kai are missing that first part of the story, so you should go back and read it. I did want to say one quick thing too about
Sure.
Dragon Ball Super's future. when it gets canceled, if it gets canceled, whenever the end comes, the difference between Japan and the United States as far as how they put together TV shows is that here it just gets canceled. Like the show just ends and doesn't get renewed for a new season. Japan will be different. What will happen is they'll wrap up the show. They'll create a storyline that'll basically end the show and they'll speed through it. It's what happened to Toriko. It's what happened to GT, because GT was supposed to go longer. I mean, it was. So, I mean, that's what they'll do. They'll wrap it up. And that's why a lot of us actually thought the Universe 6 arc was going to be it. There was a little bit of time there where we didn't get any new updates, and we were like, wait a minute, is it going to be it? Yeah, because it was wrapping up too fast. But you'll notice that for sure before it ends. But like you said, I just find it hard to believe it's going to be soon because there's too much stuff coming out and there's too much hype right now. It would have to tank on a catastrophic level. It would have to go out of the top 10, I feel, in order for it to even come close to even being considered. And I will say this, okay? If Toriyama decides to not write any more stories, don't be surprised if Toei moves on without him.
Yeah.
I know it's controversial, but Battle of Gods was originally written by Yusuke Watanabe. They don't need Toriyama. Should he be there? Of course. He's a legend. He's the guy. But if it's making money, Toriyama's lack of involvement is not going to stop Toei from making money, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
So, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, hopefully this can kind of clear up the question of how long will Dragon Ball Super, or I guess Dragon Ball as a series, continue. And even though we didn't have a specific answer, it's basically
as long as it keeps making money, dude.
As long as it keeps making money.
Keeps,
So
yeah.
you guys have nothing to fear over. The games will keep coming, the figures will keep coming, the show will go on until it goes on, but even when it ends, they'll have more. So prepare for that, I guess. Again, let us know in the comment section below, what is your favorite thing about the Dragon Ball Super, or not just Super, but Dragon Ball in general right now, whether it be games, merchandise, whatever, and from that specifically pick one thing. So if you like the figures, figure arts. If you like the games, Xenoverse. Like,
I love it all.
Specific. Like, we want to know. We would like, this is your chance to like kind of immerse yourself in the community and talk about this stuff. So let us know in the comment section below. So yeah, that's pretty much everything, I guess. Check out both Danny and Danny in the comment section or in the description below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. If you enjoyed today's video, also leave a like, and that's pretty much everything. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
I love it all, bro. I'm just saying, I love the figures too, so I love everything.
We'll see you guys in the comment section below.